a lot of ways, Donald Trump wants us in the press to be his foil. He wants it to be him versus us. We see our job as journalists as helping the American people understand what's going on. Trump wants to portray us as players in the game because it makes us easier to dismiss when he doesn't like stories that we do.
Every piece of reporting that can be challenged is sort of weaponized against you. You're aware of maybe not being at war, but you're aware of working and covering an administration that is combative and a president who relishes that combat, who's a media figure above everything else and who loves to engage with and spar with us. You have to at least have the humility to think about these things as you're doing your job, and in real time that's difficult to do. Am I getting the tone right? What's important here? How much do I push back? How much is the incoherence of a Trump statement or the mendacity of a tweet, how much is that self-evident? How much do I need to point that out?
There's a large category of Americans who feel lost, forgotten, abandoned, betrayed by all sections of the establishment, including the journalism establishment. I think that the demise of or the diminishment of robust local news coverage in communities does have an impact, especially in economically depressed areas, on people's sense of trust for the media. And I think when you juxtapose that with what they see on TV or read in major national papers, and it's not exactly about what they're experiencing, I think that hurts us too.
We're not supposed to be part of the resistance. That's not why we're here. But if journalism is attacked, we should resist. And that's up to us. It's not the press who brought that atmosphere into the White House. It's the President of the United States of America, the leader of the free world. And calling us fake news and enemy of the people, it does have a toxic, cancerous effect on public attitudes towards the press and towards working journalists in this country. I think it's fine for all of us to push back on when our profession is under attack. And that's not a liberal thing or a conservative thing. It's standing up for what we do.
What's the verbiage that we use? Do we use the word lie when there is actual evidence that the president is lying? I think as a journalist, when I see things that I know to be factually wrong, I may not write a lead that says President Donald Trump lied, but I'm going to set up a construction in a story where I'm going to say, here's what the president said. Pointing these things out, and every day there's so many things and opportunities to do that, to say, well, this doesn't really jive with this, or this contradicts something he said just days ago, or is this really believable?
The ability to get information, including critical information about the people in power, and then to question people in power, is completely baked into the American tradition. And it is for many of the same people who either distrust the press or just don't like, modern news coverage or whatever. I think underlying that is an assumption that you'll always be able to get information about whatever you want to get information about, and you can just criticize the delivery method of it. Whereas I think if you've ever lived in a place where you go to jail for saying something crappy about the guy who's in charge, you view this in a completely different way. And I don't know how to teach that. I mean, how can you teach people to be afraid of something that they've never been afraid of? And the only way to feel afraid is, to be afraid, and by then it's too late. So I think it's more complicated than a civics class.